Come on in. All right, so if you'll stand, go ahead and stand right there facing me. Okay, so, and back up just a little bit so we have some room. First thing we're going to do is an informal salute. So what I want you to do is make a fist with your right hand, step forward with your right foot, and you're going to be on the ball of your foot. So see how the heel's up just a little bit? Good. We cover that with the left hand. There you go. Good. Holding us up nice and high and a big circle. So we're holding it out away from our body. Then from here, the hands come apart and a slight bow, keeping the eyes up here. Okay, so let's do that again, and then I'll explain what it's going to be, what it's for. So let's go ahead and face this way. So it's going to be 1, there you go, and 2. Good. Again, ready? 1 and 2. Good. So what that is a greeting salute. You'll see when people come in, you'll see them doing that to each other. What it means, it's a how we say hello and goodbye, but formally what it means is this is my fist. So if that was my weapon, I'm covering my weapon. So I'm showing that I'm coming in with respect and not aggression, right? So like taking a sword and putting it in its sheath sort of thing, right? So if I'm holding it up high, that symbolizes that a great deal of respect. And then when we're holding it out in this big circle like this way, that symbolizes mutual respect. So the respect goes both ways, right? So again, this is our weapon. We're putting the weapon away. Now when we set it down here, it's as if we're setting it down on a table, okay? So again, symbolizing that we're coming in with respect and not aggression. Make sense? When we do this, we keep eye contact. Okay, if you were to lower the eyes, that symbolizes submission. We don't do that. We show respect, but not submission. So the eyes stay up and we keep eye contact. So let's do that together. So that's going to be 1, good, and 2. There you go, very good. Okay, and you'll see it informally, just like, hey, how's it going when people come in? Okay, all right. So the first thing we're going to do is a snap kick, a basic kick like so. What we want to do, I'm going to break it down by the mechanics so you understand the different, how we create power and the mechanics of it. Okay, so the first thing, go ahead and bring your knee up. There you go, good. Now to get it up faster, what you want to use is your toes to push off the ground, okay? So by using the toes, you're using this calf muscle, and that calf muscle is going to get it going much better, okay? So go ahead and push that off the ground. There you go, good. So your toes should be pointed down at that point, right? Because they just sprung. So do that again, push off the ground. Good, now as that happens, your supporting leg, you want to bend that supporting leg. So that allows you to shift your hip over your supporting foot. So we have this concept called center line. Center line is an imaginary pull through our body. By shifting the hip, I take that center line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over that supporting foot here, okay? So I've got a balanced position there. So again, push that up, 1, good, there you go. And so most people will try to balance with their shoulders, right? Say, instead what we're doing is we're balancing by shifting the hip. Does that make sense? Yeah. There you go, good. Okay, so again, push your foot up, grab your balanced position by shifting that hip, good. Now as we do that, we're gonna bring our hands into position, okay? So our left hand is up here, and that's to block our face, so go ahead and bring your left hand up. So that would be vertical right here, and that could easily block your face right there, right? This will be here, pointing at your opponent's face. Now your opponent will be fighting distance away, so fighting distance for you is about that far, right? Because that's the length of your legs, and his face will say is the same height as you. So this should be angled at an angle to be pointing right where your imaginary opponent's face is, right? Make sense? Okay, so the right hand is there, it could punch. It's also there if you needed it to block the groin area. Lower part of your body, this would block the higher part, okay? So again, let's do that all together. The hands come up and the foot come up together, okay? There you go. Again, ready? 1, good. And you can say 1 with me, again. So we'll count and that helps you remember things. Again, ready? 1. Good, good. Make sure this is nice and vertical right here. You don't want that elbow pointing out. So again, ready? 1. Good. One more time. Ready? 1. Now from here, we'll go ahead and kick and return to neutral position. So go ahead. Now as we kick, our supporting leg was bent, right? So that allows us to rock the hips, okay? So power comes from the ground, from our supporting leg and the rock of the hips, okay? Make sense? Yeah. Okay, so we want to rock our hips into that. So again, bring it up. 1, good, and 2, go ahead and kick. Good, good. Now when we kick, we're going to kick with the ball of our foot right here, okay? So you want to roll your toes back. Go ahead and roll your toes back and hit the ball of your foot on the ground. Good, that's a nice solid part of your foot, and that would not hurt your foot, right? So by using, if you hit the top of your foot or the toes, what's gonna happen? You're gonna break those, right? So you wanna, your toes have pointed down on the initial kick, but as they make impact, they roll back to expose the ball of the foot, okay? So you wanna do that when you're kicking. So do that again, ready, 1, good, 2, kick, there you go, good. And again, ready, bring it up, 1, 2, kick, good. Now remember to continue to rock the hips. And when you rock the hips, that means the knee will also continue to rise. So you don't want your knee to stop and kick, because then that's just the lower leg. You want this all working together, the knee rising and the hips pushing into it to create power, okay? All right, so do that again, bring it up, 1, 2. Good, not bad. Notice also when we do this, we come back to neutral position. Coming back to neutral position gives us the ability to go in any direction. So if we kicked, maybe we can move forward with something, the guy bends over, we punch him, or we kick and we have to go in another direction. We have the ability to do any of that, right? If we don't come back to neutral first, we're committed to whatever direction we were going. In this case, it would be flopping forward, right? But by kicking, coming to neutral, then we have those choices, okay? So you want to practice it coming back to that neutral position, okay? So again, bring it up, 1, good, 2, kick, return, and set down. Very good, very good. Okay, got that? Excellent. We're gonna move on to a chop, okay? So a chop, what we're gonna do, the first thing we're gonna do is bring our hands up as if we're drinking water. Good, your fingers are slightly bent and your thumbs are here on the outside against the outside of the finger, okay? Bring that up, start it off to the side, keeping the imaginary water in the hand, and at the last moment, we turn the hand out, exposing this padded region here. There's a little bone right there, okay? That bone is okay to hit with, that's good and solid. This pad is good to hit with. This on top here is a small bone that would break, so you don't want to hit with that. So that when you chop, it's slightly upturned to expose that area there. Make sense? So again, the imaginary water, bring it up to our face, bring it out, and turn it over. Good. The other hand is also out there, that's called a cover hand, okay? So the cover hand, we'll talk about more about what that does, but it's basically there to cover our face, or maybe be the next weapon. So again, bring it up, 1, start it out, 2, and turn it over. Good. Now when we do that, we're going to step with it, okay? So what we want to do is go ahead and put your heels on a line here. Good. So I'm going to step on this line so you can see my feet. So I want you to go ahead and step out to where your toe is on the line. So you have your heels on the line, you step out, you have a toe on the line, and you still have the left heel on the line. So the back heel and the front toe. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Step out, there you go. And you want to keep your heels kind of pointed out. You don't want duck-footed here. You want your heels pointed out, and then from there you want to push those knees out nice and hard, and you'll start to feel the tension in here, and it feels on the ground as if you're tearing the ground apart. Try to keep your feet flat. Don't let them roll up. Okay, keep your inside of your toes down, the big toes down, but pull it apart by pushing out on those knees, okay? So you don't want the knees going forward. That's incorrect, okay? That'll give you kind of a bouncy feeling. You don't want that. You want the knees going outward towards a very solid feeling. Make sense? Yeah. So push out like riding a horse. Okay. Good. Now in that position, go ahead and put your chop out here as if you've just chopped in that direction. We'll just kind of pretend we had for a moment. Good. Now this will be here. You want this out here. You want these slightly bent. You want, remember, this to be slightly upturned, but that's a little bit too much. Notice the wrist is weak. So you want almost flat, but just barely turned up, just a little bit. The arm is slightly, almost extended, but not quite. We call it 3/4 extension. We want the shoulders turned just a little bit more, and this here. So where the shoulders are, if you imagine a plane going through your body, right? That plane is going to cut through this point where you're hitting with. It'll go through the right pec muscle, through the right hip, the hip pointer here, the rear hip pointer here, and then what's most important is your left heel, right? So let's just dial this in a little bit, relax the shoulders, turn the shoulders back a little bit, extend this out, keep looking in that direction, so turn your head all the way that way. No, this way. There you go, good. Now I'm going to push and you resist. Not bad, stay there. I'm just going to make a little micro adjustment here. Good. Now I'm going to push again, resist. Notice how you just got like twice as strong, right? Because this, I just got everything aligned to where this lines up with your heel. Notice if we turn the shoulders back this way, and if we look down that line, there's nothing on the ground, so look, it's weak, right? But if we line that up to where directly behind it is your heel on the ground, and we get this lined up to where that's proper, and this at the right extension where it's at 3/4 extension, then push there, now all of a sudden it's very strong. Make sense? Good. So that's called bone alignment. Can you remember that? What's it called? Bone alignment, right. And this hand will be right out here. Okay, all right, let's do that again. So we're gonna do it facing forward. What I want you to do is go ahead and put your heel on the line back here. Good. And put your toe on the line there. Right, good. So from the heel of your back foot to the toe of your opponent to the center line of your opponent is a straight line. Does that make sense? Now if you go ahead and put your chop out like so, this chop here, and the shoulders are relaxed, remember, relax those. This is out here, very far, okay? Now, in this position, remember we talked about the plane, how this goes through that right pec, through the hip pointer, and is right in front of that heel on the ground. Now, I know you can't see your heel, but you can imagine the line going from here to the heel. Can you imagine that line? Very good. All right, so, make sense? Yes. All right, a plane cutting through there, heel to toe. This is on that heel to toe line, okay? All right, very good. Let's go back to here. Used for your next weapons. Now, another thing about this position here is think about this. If you were the good guy and you would hit me here, and I was the bad guy, right? And what if at the same time I was trying to punch you? Could you easily block that? Yeah. Yeah, you could go ahead, easy to block that, right? If I was over here trying to punch you, you could easily block with that elbow, right? Good. So in this position, I can't really hit you anywhere up in here, right? Okay. Good, so it's all pretty covered, right? Now, go ahead and keep your hands up there. So that's there. If I had tried to come up into the ribs with a kick, your elbow is there in the way of my kick, so that would block that. And what if I had tried to kick you in the groin? No, you don't even need to do anything because look, if you push those knees out in that good horse stance, push them out hard, there you go, and you have the heel toe position, I can't get a straight shot of the groin. I could come around, but it's a longer shot, takes longer to get there, right? So that means all of these areas, all the vital areas up here, your center line, your groin, everything that I could hit that was, that would be a good target is pretty well covered in that position. Does that make sense? So you have a lot of strength in this position because of bone alignment, and you have a very defensible position. Does that make sense? Yes. Good. All right, so let's put that together. So go ahead and put your feet together. Bring your hands up. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start it out first, and then when it's almost there, we're gonna step to that horse stance, okay? So it's gotta be almost all the way there. So we bring it up, start it all the way out, and then step to our horse stance. There you go, good. And again. Now remember to keep the heels out, because if the heel's in, then we're wobbly, it's not as strong. But the heel's out, we have a strong stance, okay? So again, bring it up, start it out, and step. There you go, good, good. And again, bring it up, start it out, and step. There you go, good. So what's happening here is the weapon moves before the body. We'll always say weapon before body. You'll hear that a lot in your training. What that means is the weapon creates the velocity, and then the body creates the power behind it. Does that make sense? So this is the speed, and then the mass behind that speed gives, and those two combined gives it power, right? If we move the body first, you've used the power, and now you get the weapon going when you didn't apply that power to the weapon, so it's useless, right? But if you get weapon before body, then in that case, you have both in time with each other. Does it make sense how that creates power? Good, so that's what we want to try for, is weapon before body, okay? So do that again, bring it up, start it out, and step. There you go, good. All right, now the other thing that happens with this is it's called a floating foot. And if you can imagine, if I was here, and say I had chopped this wall here, right? And at that moment that I hit, my right foot was slightly off the ground. Notice it's not very far off the ground, but you can see it's off the ground, right? Then when I do that, where is the weight? On the wall, right? Now what if I lean? Puts it back there. It's no good, right? But if I have my center line here and I have pushing out my good stance and that is there, it's on the wall. So at that moment of impact, if on the moment of impact, that foot were still in the air, the weight would be in the hand, creating more power. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good, so that's what we want to search for. We don't want our foot to land first and then it hits. We want our foot to still be in the air on impact, okay? All right, so let's do that again. Bring it up, 1, out, 2. There you go, good. Let's try that. So face that way. And I'm just gonna hold my hand up here to give you something to hit and just go slow, and I wanna try and get that timing, okay? So 1, start it out, extend it all the way, all the way, all the way, then step. Good, so the step creates the power, right? Very good, do that again. Up, extend it out, and step, good. Make sure not to tense those shoulders up when you do it, right? When you're doing this, the power comes from your legs. So if you go ahead and go out to your chop position here, okay, notice when I push here, let's line these shoulders up again, we get this out here. Notice, think about not these muscles working up here, but think about the left thigh working. Feel that's the left thigh muscle there? Yeah. Feel that? That's where your power comes. If you line everything up, your power is coming from that left leg, especially the left thigh muscle, right? Now, which is stronger, your thigh muscle or your tricep muscle? Your thigh muscle is like a whole lot bigger than your tricep. So if you're using the thigh muscle, then you're going to be creating a whole bunch more power because you're using bigger, stronger muscles. Plus you're using the dynamics of your body and bone alignment, right? All right, so let's do that again. Bring it up, 1 and 2. Good. Okay, so in this position, you've got the strength, you know, you can block all of these weapons here, right? You can block your groin like we talked about, good. And then you have a lot of weapons available to you. So if, for example, you can relax there. If I was in that position here, I've got that chop, right? We've also got that as a weapon, so we could fire these 2 weapons, right? You've got the kick available as a weapon. So by being heel-toe, that's why that heel-toe is alignment. The heel-toe alignment gives us just enough room to get our kick by, but we're still blocking our own groin from him, right? So in this position, your opponent is very weak and he doesn't have any weapons on you. You're very strong and you have this weapon, this weapon, this weapon, maybe even more. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's a very strong defensible position. Okay. Got it? Mm-hmm. Excellent, good. Good, all right, let's do one more thing. We're gonna do a block, but we're just going to do it from a square horse. So go ahead and step out to what's called a square horse here, okay? This is like our heel-toe horse, but our feet are in a line, they're parallel with each other versus the heel-toe, they have that heel-toe alignment, right? But other than that, the knees pushing out and the heels pushing out is pretty much the same, okay? However, this is not an application stance. This is a practice stance where the heel-toe stance, that was application, right? You know, when we did our chop, we've got this weapon, we've got multiple weapons, we can follow through from that stance. This stance is just for practicing our hands, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna bring our block up, there you go, and we're gonna bring it up at 3/4 extension, wrist at eye level, there you go, good. And if you can imagine like a picture frame area out here, that picture frame there, we're going to block that, just that picture frame. So blocking any area out here or anything out here is just a waste, right? So we only have to block this area. That means if we present up from one side to the other, then we're moving efficiently. Okay. And efficiency of motion can sometimes be more important than speed, okay? All right, so let's try that again. Bring it up, 1 and 2. Good. Now again, remember we're using our body for power, so in this case we're going to turn our hips. Okay, but we don't turn our hips right away. What we do is we start the weapon first, it goes all the way across, and then we turn our hips to create the power. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so again, bring it up, 1 and 2. There you go, good. And again, push those knees out, bring it up, 1 and 2. Good, so stay right there. Let's bring this up just a little bit higher. Push those knees out hard, okay? Now I'm gonna push, you resist. Good, feel how that goes right down that leg. And so again, your legs are creating the power, right? Mm-hmm. Good, so go ahead and face this way. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and go to your square horse, as we're going to practice that block a little bit, right? And what I want to do is I want to train your subconscious mind, okay? We do that by training your peripheral vision, okay? So I want you to look here in the center of the chest. Now, when looking there, can you see this going on over here? Mm-hmm. Can you see that? If I went to kick you, can you see that? So you can see everything that's going on out here, right? Good, so that's what we want to use as the peripheral. Your peripheral vision is connected to your subconscious mind. Your focal vision is connected to your frontal lobe, where you think, right? Okay. So have you ever like knocked something off a shelf and you catch it like really kung fu speed or really super fast, right? Yeah, so that's really cool. And how would it be if you moved like that all the time? That'd be way cool, right? Okay. Well, we can do that by training your subconscious mind using your peripheral vision. The reason that happened is because you caught it out of your peripheral vision and you just reacted to it, okay? We want to train in reactions that same way. So we do it by the use of how you use your eyes. So go ahead and look here, okay? Now, when I drop a shoulder back this way, that means that's the motion of a punch coming on, right? Okay. Now to start, I'll make this a little bit big so you start to get used to it, but it could be small, but it's always gonna be there in some way, okay? All right, so for that type of punch anyway, okay? So when I drop this, you bring that hand up, okay? So bring it up, one, good. Now when I punch, block, good. Now turn your hips for power, remember. Okay. Again, ready? One, two, there you go, good. Feel how the hips create the power, right? Again, right there, one and two. That's it, good. And again, ready? One and two. Good, one more time. Ready? One and two. Good, so by keeping the eyes here, by the way, the eyes are one of the harder parts of the body to train, then you can see everything here. If you looked at that punch, which a lot of people like to do, then you won't see the other punch. Okay. So you want to train those eyes to be right here, okay? So again, right there, bring it up, one and two. Very good, very good. And you get the strength from that horse pushing those knees out, right? Mm-hmm. All right, and again, one and two. Very good, very good. Okay, you got that? Yeah. All right, go ahead and put your feet together, and we'll close that up for today. So make a fist here, step forward, and bow. Very good, not bad. Very good, okay.